Okay, we got our veggies. Red onion, red pepper. Now when you're cutting, you want to make sure you're sliding, you got your fingers curled around, and you want to make sure you're sliding off the side. Now for some people, depending on how long your fingers are, you might be coming off a couple. For me, it's usually just that one middle finger, and your thumb and pinky will hold it in place. End of your knife is going to be down on the board, and it's either going to be an up and down chop or it's going to be a slide. Particularly for things like when we're doing the bell pepper, you need to make sure you're sliding to get through that skin. It's like this. Tip it over. I like to cut my onions at least 15 minutes before I cook them. It really helps with the antioxidant properties of onions and garlic if they're allowed to sit after they're cooked. And then when you cut those onions, kind of smush them up a bit, just get them all separated. It's important to make sure everything's around the same size, and if those big bits of onions are all stuck together, they're not gonna cook evenly. Peppers, I see a lot of people cut peppers, they go straight down the middle, and it makes a mess. You get the seeds everywhere. So I personally just like to take the sides off. You can do it in one long one if you want. I've seen some people do it like that. Take the 4 sides off, take the bottom off. Make sure you don't use all of the available product. Something very, very important for chefs to get everything out of there that they can. It's going to really help your food cost. Okay, so now I got my pepper skin side down, and I'm going to come down, and it's a push. So every time the knife gets down to the board, we're giving it a little push forward, and that's making sure that I'm getting straight through the skin. Because usually if I just kind of go up and down, it's not going to cut all the way through. And this cut would be called a batonette, one of the classic French cuts, basically also called like a French fry cut. When you've got round vegetables, it helps to take a side off them. Another thing chefs are always concerned with: uniformity, consistency, and then also usage of your product, but also working as efficiently as you possibly can. So just finding ways to always try to do things the most efficient way you can. So it's gonna save you time, and time really is money when it comes to restaurants. Alright, so that's all my veggies. Probably got enough chicken and vegetables here with the gravy to fill, I would say, probably about 4 people, unless you've got a very big appetite. Salt, pepper, a generous amount of extra virgin olive oil, Make sure that's all nicely coated. And because everything's the same size, it should all cook fairly uniformly. You're going to get a little bit of difference because, you know, things like the onions, peppers, maybe going to have a little bit of a higher sugar content, but in general it's going to all cook around the same amount of time. Okay, and then we're going to roast those 425 until we start to get a bit of color on them, until they're nice and tender, because we want to be able to form those on the plate.